friends, I'm Amy and this is A-Star Reads, and I'm doing it! I'm finally getting around to editing my final Advent Calendar Challenge vlog in March. This might be the longest it's taken me to actually get all these videos out. But I did complete this a long time ago, so it's not like I've waited this long to actually complete it. It's just the editing process. And if you're curious what is happening here and you haven't watched any of the other vlogs, I will link the playlist up here so you can go back and check out what's happened this year for my Advent Calendar Challenge, what's led me to this point, and why exactly I'm reading what I'm reading in this video. Good morning! It is the 30th. We're almost at the new year. It's kind of late in the morning because I went to bed super late. I ended up staying up last night and reading like 116 pages of One Day in December. And I'm really glad this is the choice I picked for my final book for this particular series because this is what I've been looking for. I love the writing style. The writing style is exactly what I was hoping for. The situation is super messy, and I like super messy dynamics. It's not always pretty, it's not always good or bad, it's just interesting. So at the very beginning of this, our main character, I can't remember her name right now, Lori. Our main character, Lori, is on a bus and she's exhausted from a really tough work year. She's getting ready for the holidays to go home to see her family. She's on the bus. It's a crowded bus. And she looks up and she spots a guy sitting outside the bus at the bus stop. And they have this instant connection where they're just like staring at each other. And there's these realizations happening between the two of them that they just want to meet. But she doesn't get off the bus because she's too busy staring at him. And the bus is so crowded. And he doesn't get on the bus in time to talk to her. So she fantasizes about this guy for like a year, and she talks about him with her best friend, Sarah, who she is her flatmate, but she's also just like the most important person in her life as far as friends go. Her and Sarah are always trying to find the bus guy. And at one point, Sarah finds the bus guy. She doesn't know it, obviously. Her friend comes to their Christmas party, their holiday party, and she's like, Lori, I really want you to meet Jack. Jack is the guy that I'm falling in love with, and he's so amazing, and you're the most important person in my life, so I need to make sure that you and Jack get along. Well, Jack is the bus guy, of course. And it's devastating for Lori. She had this instant connection with this guy, and she has never been able to stop thinking about him, and this is the guy that her best friend's in love with. So she has to figure out how to maneuver the situation, and Jack is well, they never admit that they're the bus people to each other until later on. Jack is totally into Sarah, really into Sarah. She's gorgeous, she's exciting, but he can't deny that he is drawn to Lori, and he really likes who she is as a person. He's still with Sarah, so they're trying really hard to maintain this friendship through her best friend. Things are moving along, and life is changing for all of them, and it changes pretty drastically for Lori, and we're kind of on the next part of her journey. And it goes year by year, and you have like little snippets each year, and you get most from Lori's perspective, but you get some from Jack's perspective. And I just think that this is written so well. I like that when we go from Lori's perspective to Jack's perspective, you really can hear the difference in the characters' voices, which I think some authors do really well and some authors don't. And I just really like the writing. I like the writing a lot. There's enough beauty and detail in the writing to make it seem more elevated than other romance stories. There is an aspect to this book that I think some people will not like, and I don't want to give anything away, so I'm not going to say that. But I don't feel like it goes as far as some other books do, and I feel like it's a lot more realistic than pretending like people don't make mistakes. Let's put it that way, which will probably give it away. But anyways, nothing big happens, nothing so drastic that you can't recover from it. But it is definitely something that a lot of people don't like to read in books. So I just got to warn you that there are moments in this book where not the best choices are made. Oh, there's my thumb. There's my thumb. I'm trying to relax my other arm and then... But we're currently in Thailand, and I'm enjoying seeing what's happening with Lori, and it'll be curious to see how the story and how the experience of these two characters like comes and goes over the years, because I think this is supposed to span 10 years, and we're getting like 2000, I think it started in 2008, 2009, 2010. We're currently in 2012. I think. Oh no, we're going into 2012. That's the next section. So I am looking forward to seeing how these two characters eventually come together, because they're going to have to come together because they're the original two, you know, that were at the bus. But how can they do it and not completely destroy the relationship between Sarah and Lori? Because their friendship is one of those friendships that is like sisters. It would be disappointing if this book went through and that relationship was destroyed because of this other relationship, this undeniable chemistry and interest between Jack and Lori. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, I should also point out that this is very bingeable, and I'm having a hard time putting it down. So today my plan is to start doing the book scavenger hunt and at least look up the different places I want to go to and see if they're open on Mondays, because Mondays tend to be a place here in Washington, or at least up here when a lot of places are closed, and see what's available. I also have an idea to do some shopping because I'd like to get a new New Year's top, because I tend to wear the same thing all the time, and I think it'd be fun to have something cute for New Year's. So I would like to get out and go do some shopping today and do some book scavenger hunt shopping, but I'm having a really hard time putting my book down. So we'll see what happens. It's been a really relaxing few days in the sense that I haven't really gone out and done much. We've been still cleaning a little bit around the house. I've been doing some video editing and stuff. I'm trying to let my stomach, I don't know. I feel like I have really bad days here and there, and then I have days where I'm just recovering from those really bad days, and then I have maybe 1 or 2 good days, and then I have a really bad day again. So I take it each day at a time. But the last few days, my stomach's been really tender, really not feeling amazing. So today actually feels pretty good for my stomach. I haven't eaten anything yet. I haven't had a smoothie or anything for breakfast. It's always like, I want to eat because I'm hungry, but I also don't want to get things going down here. So we'll see. Well, I can read a 400-page book in 24 hours. So I just got to build my way up to 500 pages for her kid. And I want to tell you about my thoughts, my final thoughts and everything about One Day in December. But before I do that, we're going to open up our marshmallows for today. I think we're on day 4.
Yeah, we did 3. Okay, so 4.
Where is 4? Over here.
Ooh,
It's got sprinkles on it.
Oh, that looks good.
That's fun. Why doesn't this want to open? Birthday cake flavored.
It looks like birthday cake, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so we are ready to do our scavenger hunt, at least get our things ready for our scavenger hunt. So I've picked 5 different local bookstores. One of them that we love is closed today, so we're going to go to Anacortes and hit Pelican Bay Books. So we have 5 places, 6 prompts, and then I have 6 prompts here, and we're going to roll the dice and see which prompt works for which bookstore. And if we land on the same number twice, we'll just roll again. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to do it that we can do the same prompt over again, or what?
Huh. I don't know.
That's
an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Let's see how that works. Let's see if it works.
Mom has a budget of $72 because of her advent calendar, and I have a budget of $47. I'm also going to be picking up Jordan's books too. She has a budget of $52, and I have a list of books that I'm interested in getting for her. So
good.
She's not going to be doing the scavenger hunt because we're just trying to get her books that she's going to love. So, are you going to start?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your first one going to be?
Lucky number 3.
3 is a book that is part of a series. We're just going to go down a list. So that's Griffin's Cozy Corner Books. Okay, now it's my turn for Griffin Cozy Corner Books. And this is a little bookstore that only has used books. 3 also.
Oh my gosh.
My 3 is a book recommended by staff or store owner. Well, that'll be interesting. I don't know what he's going to recommend. Okay. Well, that's probably the one place I didn't want that prompt for. Going for second one. 2. This is for Barnes & Nobles. A book that is, sci-fi. You're getting a sci-fi from Barnes & Nobles.
Oh, good.
Okay, so now it's my turn to find out what I'm getting for Barnes & Noble. Here's my list. And 3 again. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do, I think we're gonna just roll again when it comes to if we get the same thing. 2, a book that BookTube has convinced me to read. I like that one, that's a good one. Okay, so Mom's finding out for Eclipse books. What is she gonna be looking for at Eclipse books? 1, a poetry book. For me, for Eclipse books.
3, how come I
just
coming
keep
up for you?
rolling that. That is so annoying. 4, okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4. A book with a beautiful cover. I think I can do that. All right, Village Books, Ma.
Village Books, one of my favorite stores. 5.
5. Oops. This is mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A book with a beautiful cover, also for you. And then for me, for Village Books, watch, I'll probably land on 3 again. 5. Okay, maybe not. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A book I've never heard of before. Okay, that's easy. Okay, so Mom only has 4 or 6 left, so she's gonna roll until she gets a 4 or 6. Nope. Nope. Ha!
Nope. I did one. No! My goodness.
Oh, I keep rolling the same things over again.
There we go, 6. And that's a cat on the cover. So
Oh.
at Pelican Bay Books in Anacortes, you're going to find a book with a cat on the
on
cover.
the cover.
And the one Mom didn't get is a book with a winter setting on the cover. So now it's my turn. I can either get a 1 or a 6. Those are my 2 options, a 1 or a 6. Ha! A 6.
6.
A book with ocean creatures on the cover. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. And Cece wanted to be part of the fun, so here she is.
Do you want
Hi,
to roll the
little
dice?
girl.
Do you want to roll the dice?
Here, try.
6.
She got a 6. Good job, Cece. High five. She likes me. Look, she's smiling. She likes to be part of the plan. Okay, so let's recap. Mom is gonna be, when we hit up each of these stores, at Griffin's Cozy Corner Books, she's gonna be looking for a book that is part of a series. The book that she's actually looking for, it might be hard to find it there. Barnes & Noble, she's going to be looking for a sci-fi book. Eclipse Books, she's looking for a poetry book. Village Books is a book with a beautiful cover. Pelican Bay Books is a cat on the cover. And then I am looking for, at Griffin Books, a book recommended by staff or store owner. I just don't know what he's going to pick for me. Barnes & Noble's a book that BookTube has convinced me to read. Eclipse Books, a book with a beautiful cover. Village Books, a book I've never heard of before. And Pelican Bay Books, a book with ocean creatures on the cover. And Mom's budget is huge, and my budget is not so huge. Okay, so we are at our first stop, and it is Griffin Towns in Ferndale. And we've been here quite a few times before. It's a used bookstore. Nice gentleman owns this place. And Mom has to
Find a book that is part of a series. Amy has to.
I have to ask him about a recommendation. So I've kind of thought about how I'm going to do this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him if he got any books in recently that he would recommend, and tell him that my favorites are like fiction, sci-fi, and fantasy. So that way I kind of narrow and make it easier for him to figure something out for me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Cece is not getting out of the car, so I don't know why you're crying. Okay, so I didn't film too much in there. I filmed a little bit, but not too much, because it's a very small shop and it's a very quiet shop. And so we did talk to the owner. He's super nice. And I told him, I said, do you have anything new that's come in that you'd recommend? And he was like, well, it's all good. And so he's like, well, what kind of books do you like? So I said, I like fantasy, I like sci-fi, I like fiction. And he showed me to the YA section, and he had just put out 3 books. And so one of them I saw, right when I saw it, I was like, this is perfect. This is on my list for Jordan. And that's The Red Queen book 1, and they had book 2. So that's $18 total because it was $8.95 and $8.95. So we got these. I can clean off the cover a little bit so that they look a little nicer when I give them to her. But I really think that she will love the Red Queen series. I'm excited about this. She loves YA. She loves well-paced books, and I think this will be interesting and dystopian enough that she will enjoy it. And so I got those 2 for her. So I already got 2 books for Jordan. And then for me, one of the other ones he said, I just got this one in too, is Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I've been wanting to read this for a while. And I loved the Lunar Chronicle series, and I've heard Heartless is really, really good. So I'm very excited. This is a Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland retelling. So I'm very, very excited that was there. And so that was also $8.99. No, $8.95. So I'll have to make sure I count that off from my total of what I can get. He had a dollar section, and this isn't counting towards my scavenger hunt, but I did end up spending $1 to get a Christmas book by Lisa Kleypas. This has 2 stories in it, which I think will be good for next year for my Advent Calendar Challenge, to be able just to add if it works. But I always like to have a few Christmas books on my own shelf so that I have something available for you should see some dogs out there for Advent Calendar Challenge each year. So I just picked up that because it was $1. So that means I only have $38.05 remaining for my scavenger hunt. We haven't even got to Barnes & Nobles and Village Books, where the books are more expensive. Although Village Books has a lot of used books. Yeah. Barnes & Nobles doesn't.
I had to pick out a book that was a series.
Part of a series.
Part of a series. And I found this cover that drew me first. And it says book 1 right at the top.
Scorpica by G.R. McAllister.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it except for it's apparently queendoms. There's several queendoms here, and there hasn't been a girl.
Don't put it in front of your face, Mom. That's why I just put it over here.
I like to look at it like
No.
this. There hasn't been a girl child born to these queendoms for a long time, and so I guess that's going to be a problem. It sounds like an epic fantasy, so I'm excited.
So Mom still has $63.05 to spend. You're still doing good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we are going to go drop off these chairs to Jordan and Char, and then we are off onto the next adventure. We're going to be hitting up Barnes & Nobles, and I'm going to be looking at Macy's and maybe Kohl's for a cute top for New Year's. So that's the next part of our adventure, and I will check in with you in a little bit. She got Topper, so she got Fox and the Hound. Oh. My least favorite Disney movie.
Okay, what did I get?
That is so funny that you got the Fox and the Hound, though.
Yeah, I was saying this.
He's so cute. These are really cute figurines.
They're so cute.
Oh, it's Bambi! Oh, that's really cute.
Look at how happy this guy is.
That's so adorable. We're getting some McDonald's, and look who's just chilling. It's a pretty little hawk. Just, oops. Okay, so I was unsuccessful in finding a cute top so far. We are at Barnes & Noble's, and let's see. No, that's yours right there. Barnes & Noble's, I have to get a book that BookTube has convinced me to read. That shouldn't be too hard. And Mom...
And I have to get a sci-fi book. I want to see if I can get something new.
Okay, so for mine, a book that BookTube has convinced me to read. Danielle from Bookcar is going to be thrilled because this is one of her favorite books, and I know other people have read it recently and loved it. So I'm going to read The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, and this is $16. So that's $16, $15.99 off my total. So yeah, I couldn't find a lot of things inexpensive at Barnes & Noble's, obviously. So that means I only have $22.06 left for my last three
more
bookstores. It's doable because I can find used books at all those places. It's doable, it's just harder. So then for Jordan, I got her this graphic novel called If You'll Have Me by Uni, and it's compared to Heartstopper, but it's sapphic. So I think she would love this, because I know she loved Heartstopper or liked Heartstopper. So I think this would be a great choice, and I think it'd be a fun choice. And then I also got her Girls of Paper and Fire, which I hope she didn't already read. Part of me is thinking that she might have already read this one, but I feel like she would love this. And, oh gosh, now I'm hoping she hasn't read it, by Natasha Nyan. And we'll see. We'll see if she has. Maybe she liked it enough that she wants to reread it. I don't know.
So I was supposed to find a sci-fi book, and I found An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hayden Green. I read the back. I don't know anything about it, except for reading the back. It looks like it has robots.
Yeah, she's never heard of this book before. It's very well known.
But Amy says it's well known, well loved. But I'm excited.
Yeah. So what's your remaining total?
It was, so the book is $18, which leaves me with a grand total of $45.05. So I have plenty to spend.
I know.
Well, that's all I did was pull money when we did our 24 Days of Christmas.
It's true. Okay, so we only hit 2 of the bookstores today, and we did hit like 3 different stores where there was clothing, and I didn't get any tops because there was just nothing that cute that I liked, and if there were things that were kind of cute, they didn't fit well, or I didn't like the fit, and so I just am gonna go with something tried and true. So when we got home, there was a package awaiting, actually 2. One of them is my grow lights for my geraniums, so I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna set that up so my poor little geraniums, which have like 0 light right now, will get some nice light, and maybe they will grow a little better this winter. This is a book that I ordered because for Herkyet, I'm supposed to read a new release every month. And for December, I knew I was gonna be a little limited because I could only read once I finished my Advent Calendar Challenge. Well, when I was looking at the books that I was interested in, there was one that I was really interested in, but it came out December 3rd, which means that I have to finish it technically by January 3rd. So let me show you, hold on. This is not, oh, this is different. The book must be in the other box. Okay, well, I'll show you that in a second. This is actually from Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life. She asked me to put a gift for my mom and a gift for Cece on my wish list so that she could get them something. And so I forgot about that. There's a lot of papers in here. So she put, Amy's mom, Merry Christmas, a little late from your biggest fan, Amanda. And then Cece's new favorite toy from Amanda. So I put this toy, this cute little Triceratops, on the wish list for Cece because Cece loves to be able to grab things like this, appendages. She loves to grab appendages and then shake. Like that's her favorite thing to do, is shake her head really hard back and forth, and like little teeny appendages like this and a small toy is perfect. This little Triceratops was really cute. So that's Cece's new toy. And then for mom, Amanda got her the final book that she needs for her Patricia Cornwell series. This is the final Scarpetta book.
I know, that came out later and I didn't even know it. I didn't have my list, and then I saw it. I'm going, oh.
Yeah, she thought she had everything, but she didn't. And so then Amanda's like, what does your mom want? And Mom's like, well, I do need to get the final book. Well,
yay!
The most recent book. I don't know if it's
I love this series. I'll read it over and over again. I love it. I've read it years ago and I just keep loving it. I don't want to be a corner. Is she a corner?
I think you'd want to be. Mom wants to be an embalmer. That's what Mom wants to be.
Oh, I loved watching them. Yes.
She likes embalming. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much. Cece is going to love her new toy. She's waiting for Mom to clip off the bits. Mom is going to love her new book. I already love the whole series you gave me, so I'm just very excited. Happy New Year, Amanda. Safe travels, because I know you're on a trip now. But thank you so much.
Oh, she took it and ran off.
There she goes. She's going to shake it. Oh, she took it. She loves to shake her toys. Got to find a leg, and then, oh, come on. Show them your shake, Cece.
Oh,
She loves it, Amanda. Okay, so let's try that again. This is where my grow lights and my book should be. I was wondering why I got 2 packages. I thought it was supposed to come together. Oh, look how little the grow lights are. Plant grow lights. There's supposed to be 5 strips in here. And yeah, they're little, but I don't need them to be very big. In fact, it's better that they're not. Okay, and so this is the new release that I got. This is called Dust by Alison Stine, and I don't know whose channel I heard that was talking about new releases that mentioned this one, but this is likened to a modern John Steinbeck, like Grapes of Wrath, because it has a very similar concept where resources are very limited and like Dust Bowl sort of thing. And so it sounds really good. I think it's YA. And it's a haunting, speculative coming-of-age novel about finding her place in an unforgiving environment. A partially deaf teen questions everything she knows about family, love, and her future. And so apparently her family has always made her, I don't know, feel bad about being deaf or just try and hide her deafness. But she meets this young guy who is also deaf, and I think she's half deaf. And he's trying to encourage her to embrace this side of herself. And she's also struggling because her whole family is struggling in this time when resources are very limited and the weather or the atmosphere is unforgiving. And so it sounds really good. It sounds like something I'm going to enjoy, and I'm really excited to read it. It's a beautiful cover too. I think this is a pretty cover, and it's got speckles like dust. This will be the very first book that I read in 2025. So see how sad so many of my geraniums are? They've been trying to search for sun and they haven't been able to find any. So I got to clean them up now that they got some light. But look at how much light they have now. There's 5. I put 2 down here, 1 here, 1 up there, and then 1 down here. Nice. They're gonna be happy plants. Okay, so it is the 1st. It's New Year's, and Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful start to the year, because you'll probably see this a little later. But I'm really excited for the new year. I'm hoping it's a year of getting things figured out with my stomach and getting better. And I also hope it's a year of, what do I hope it's a year of? I just hope it's a year of feeling well and happy, because I feel like last year was a year that, at least in the end, felt not happy all the time because I have not been feeling well. So ideally, I'll get everything figured out with my stomach and some of the other issues I've been having, and it'll be a much better year. I applied for a leave replacement. Fingers crossed that I get in for an interview and that I get a chance to have a regular teaching class, even if it's for just part of the year. It would be nice. I've been feeling really burnt out substitute teaching, and it's pretty early in the year for that. I shouldn't be feeling this burnt out, but I'm like, have to go back to work on the 6th, and I don't feel ready. Probably wouldn't be as bad if I hadn't been feeling really bad for a while. So, I don't know. But I do wish I had a bit of a stability in my job from day to day, which would be a teaching job. So we'll see. We'll see. And I hope for my channel, I pick up a bit of the enthusiasm that I've had in the past, because last year was not the best booktube or reading year for me, and I'd like this next year to be a great reading year where I get a lot more 5 stars, a lot more books that are really impactful, and I am more active in the community again, because I feel like I kind of took a step back a little bit, but I'm getting a little excited about booktube again. So it just took me a little bit of readjusting, I guess. I just needed some time. So I have 2 book reviews for you, and then I want to tell you about the book I'm going to read in the next couple of days that doesn't really have anything to do with the Advent Calendar Challenge, but we haven't finished our scavenger hunt yet, which we're going to work on tomorrow. So I think we've done everything else. Let's see. City Spies I read, Dance Upon the Air I read, Christmas Festival Market, we've done things that are very similar to that. Enough that I feel like I've fulfilled that. Volunteer, donate, have not done yet. We donated, but haven't volunteered yet. So donation, so that's partially done. Silver Bells I read. unfortunately. The City We Became, I read. We did our Christmas Carol karaoke. We did the gift wrapping party I changed for the Christmas party that we hosted here at the house. And we're still cleaning up from that. But we did it and it was such a wonderful success. I read One Last Stop. We are working on our Christmas scavenger hunt, so we're about halfway through that. And I read Santa Cruz, and I went to the Queen concert last night. The group is called Queen Mother Tribute, I think is what it's called. They were so good. They were so, so good. And Nancy had a wonderful time, and she at least had a place to sit so that, you know, she didn't have to stand and dance the whole time. But it was right next to us, so we could all stand and dance there. So it was a really perfect situation, and it was awesome. It was so awesome. So I pretty much got everything done except for the scavenger hunt, which we're gonna finish tomorrow, and the volunteer setting the plans. So that's my goal. So in the meantime, because this vlog is not yet over, I'm gonna read Dust, and then I'll give you my review of this because I have to read this pretty quickly because I need to read it by the 3rd. Today is the 1st. And it just sounds like it's gonna be really good. So this is gonna be my first read for 2025, and I wanna share that with you. And I wanna let you know if this is an amazing book that you should be reading because it just came out the beginning of December. And this is also my Herkiad book, my December new release. It's only like 300 pages. So this is totally doable. Totally doable. So that's the book I'm going to be reading in the next couple of days. Until then, I want to give you my review of the final book in the Under the Mistletoe collection because I read those 5 novellas during this time. That book is called Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria, which is an author I've never read from before. I think I've heard the name Alexis Daria before. I can't be positive. I want to tell you about that. And then, of course, I want to give you my final review of One Day in December by Josie Silver because this was the book that I chose to pick up, even though it wasn't one of the books that came up for my advent calendar, but because my final thing was an activity, I was like, well, I want to have a book. So I picked up One Day in December, which I've been chomping at the bit to read for a while. So I'll tell you about that as well. Okay, so Only Santa's in the Building. This was the final book in this collection of novellas, and I really thought this one was cute. I think if I were to rank these, it would be hard to rank them because they're pretty different. A lot of these are pretty different, and I liked some of the ones that people didn't like a lot more than them. This one was rated more in the middle. It's still got a 3.35 stars, and I think part of this has to do with the fact that a lot of people either don't really like novellas that much, or they didn't expect these to be as spicy as they ended up being. This one wasn't quite as spicy as some of the other ones were. It was definitely spicy still, but it wasn't quite as spicy. This one was a little more, I felt younger as far as, it wasn't like YA, but it felt like the author is a bit younger, and it felt like this was a bit more modern in the way it was presented because you had this character who's pretty nerdy. She's an illustrator for a comic book, and she lives this life that's pretty isolated in some ways because she recently moved into an apartment, but she's on deadline to finish these comic book illustrations, and so she just kind of stays in her apartment most of the time working on these illustrations, trying to get them done by the deadline. Well, there's this cute neighbor who lives right above her that she keeps running into, and she has this huge crush on him. It turns out that he might have a crush on her as well. A person who lives on the 5th floor of the apartment complex they live in hosts a Christmas party every single year, and the theme this year is Only Santa's in the Building. So they had to kind of dress up to be Santa in some way. And I really liked the writing of this. Like I said, it felt a lot more modern. It felt very cute and fun. I liked the characters. They were adorable. There wasn't a lot of depth to the characters. Well, there was a little bit more than I would say in Merriment and Mayhem. Definitely more depth than in that one, but I thought it was cute. It was fun. It was a great little Christmas read. It gave you Christmassy vibes, and you had that fun little smutty story between these two characters that really did like each other a lot. If you're into more mainstream romance, because I feel like this one's a little more along the lines of mainstream romance as opposed to the other ones had some much more smutty or much more niche concepts. Oh, Merriment and Mayhem by Alexandria Bellafleur, that other one probably also a little more mainstream. So I do recommend this though. I think it's a cute short story. I don't think you necessarily have to read all these short stories in this collection. You know, you could just read one here or there because they're not at all connected except for that they're part of a collection. Just beware going into this whole series that they're smutty. They're not just cute little Christmas romances. I think I would give this one a 3.5 stars, maybe a 3.75 stars. I would waver between those two. I don't think it did anything particularly spectacular that would raise it up to higher. And that's it for that collection. It's nice to have a series that I completed in one go. That's really nice because, you know, me, I'm great at starting series and then never finishing them. So I do want to go over my series at some point and kind of update that for the end of this year. And finally, my review of One Day in December by Josie Silver. I really liked this book. I really liked this book. At the time I read it, I mean, I didn't put it down. I read this in one sitting, basically. 2, because I did have to sleep in between. But really, I read this in one go, and it took me 24 hours to read a 400-page book, but this was so enjoyable to me because of how complex the story was. Now, I can see this not being for a lot of people because there are moments in this where people make bad choices because of the feelings that they're feeling, and there isn't any hardcore cheating in this, but there is some emotional cheating and some, you know, there's a little bit in here. And so if that is something that really, really turns you off, and I know it does for a lot of people, I would say stay away from this one because then it'll probably really bother you. But I think that, I'm not saying that cheating or kissing other people you shouldn't be kissing is right, like it's okay. I'm just saying that humanity is very complex. People are very complex. Relationships are very complex. And in everybody's everyday situation, there's going to be things that are good and bad, and we have to learn from things, and we have to try and improve who we are as people. And everything is not black and white. There's a lot of gray area. And that is something I really enjoy in stories. I love complexity. I love differing dynamics. I love when characters grow. I love when characters take another turn. I like stories that make me think and challenge my emotions and make me feel different things. And that's something I really enjoy. I know that it's not for everyone because some people are looking to escape when they read books. Some people are looking for a happy ending all the time. And I'm not saying there isn't one in this, but I'm saying that it's not an easy path to get to that happy ending. I think that Josie Silver's writing style for a romance is really good, and I would love to read more of her books because I think that this is an author that I will really enjoy in the romance category. Because her writing isn't simple and it's not just basic, there's a lot of elements to it that bring a little bit of imagery to what she's saying, and she uses metaphors, but she doesn't overuse them. I really do like her writing style. So I'm like really excited about this author because it just seems like I will enjoy more of her works. I hope. The characters were not always your favorite people, and they're not going to be your favorite people, but I really did like the characters. I really liked our main female character. What's her name? Lori. I liked Lori. I thought that she was a very troubled person in a lot of ways because of the things she was facing in this impossible situation. And I don't always like the choices she made. I don't necessarily always like Lori when I read this, but I still like her overall because I think that she is an interesting character. I think that Josie Silver did a really good job of portraying the friendship between Lori and Sarah, her best friend. I think that that was such a great addition to the story because relationships, important relationships, aren't always just the romantic relationships. They're also the people in our lives that are our best friends, our family. And I think that that was an added element to this particular story, and it made it even more complex. It really did. So yeah, ultimately this was great. It was so good. I was thinking it when I first finished it, like 5 stars, 5 stars. Now that I have a chance to sit back and actually think about it a little bit more, maybe it's like a 4.5, but I don't know. I really liked this. It was super enjoyable and I couldn't put it down. Should I give it the 5 star that it just feels like to me? I kind of feel like it feels like a 5 star. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 star. Why not? Because I haven't given a lot of 5 stars this year. So I might as well go with what my feelings were. My feelings while I was reading this was that I really loved it and I could not put it down. I really couldn't. It wasn't that I wanted to get it done really quickly. I just couldn't put it down. So I sat and read all day. Okay, so Shar and Jordan are here to eat some marshmallows. Well, not just for that, but what day was yesterday? So we did 4th. We're gonna do the 5th. Right here. Okay, so let's see what flavor this is. Always starts with chocolate on the top. If I didn't know better, I'd say this is also peppermint again. It's also peppermint, but not as strong as the candy cane one was. It's not peppermint, it's strawberry cream. There's a little bit of pepperminty taste to it, even though it's strawberries and cream. Okay, so we did not go do our scavenger hunting today because what happened to you, Ma?
Yesterday, I started out in a massive pain, had my 2 nurse nieces come over and help me through it yesterday. And everybody did kind of wonder if it was a
Kidney stone. That was my first guess.
Amy's first guess. George and Chuck kind of maybe thought not. So we kept doing a lot of different things to get rid of the pain. Didn't get rid of it. And they said if it didn't get rid of today, then I need to call the doctor. So I woke up this morning sick, painful, nauseous. And so my daughter comes in, have you called the doctors yet? And I said, no. So I got an appointment at 2:30 this afternoon. By then, the pain had been reduced quite sufficiently. But when I explained everything that happened to me, the doctor says it sounds like kidney stones. He says you probably have already passed it, and that's why I'm not as much pain. But he wants to check into it because there's a way to check the kidney stone to see if I can get more. Because this is the very first one I've ever had. I didn't know what the heck was wrong.
She's so lucky. It's her first time.
Yeah, I guess not having a kidney stone until 71 isn't too bad.
That's not too bad. So I gave her some medicine for pain. He thinks that she's already passed it. So we're hoping that she's feeling well enough tomorrow to finish our scavenger hunt. But yeah, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. Mom's been in a lot of pain. So
And I don't handle it well. I'm a big baby.
Well, and kidney stones are very painful. So she was trying to do the best she could. And luckily she went to the doctor, got to see him right away today. So she is trying to take care of herself. And that's our excitement going on right now. I have not picked up... Oh, I did. I started Dust. But I really have only read... Look at that. Not much. Not much. Just been feeling like watching YouTube.
And helping me out.
Helping Mom. And I've been editing my day 6 part 2 vlog. So I've been doing that. So editing, taking care of Mama. I had an appointment myself today. And then... watching Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life because I haven't caught up on her vlogs yet recently. So that, and I'll get back into this. I just not in the biggest reading mood right at the moment. But that's our update for today. Oh, we haven't tried our marshmallows. We may do that later. I don't know. We haven't really been as much in the mood right now.
I'm afraid of a lot of sugar right now.
Yeah, Mom's just not feeling super sweet
I made Jordan
stuff.
eat my marshmallow yesterday.
Yeah, she had the strawberry and cream and it wasn't as good. That one wasn't the best. So... we'll see. We'll see. We may do the marshmallows later. We may not. We'll just have to save them for another day. Okay, so Mom got a sweet tooth. So we're going to open up our marshmallow for day 6, I think. Yeah, day 6.
Where's 6 at? 6. Okay, what does day 6 hold for us?
I bet it's going to be a marshmallow.
You're probably right. Ooh, and I see pink.
More pink?
More pink. Another pink.
What other flavors could they have?
You didn't like the strawberry?
Didn't care for the strawberry and cream as much.
Oh, this looks a little bit like...
Like what?
There's candy attached to it, but that might be from another one.
Okay. Raspberry. This is raspberry.
I like it.
Let me double check.
Strawberry didn't
Yep,
like.
raspberry. Raspberry's good. This one was
very
better than
good.
strawberry and cream, for sure. Good morning. It is January 4th. It's Saturday. Getting close to having to go back to work. I'm not excited about it. I should be feeling refreshed and ready, but it's been a strange Christmas break where I haven't been feeling great. I'm feeling better. The last couple of days I've been feeling better with my stomach, but then Mom was passing that kidney stone and she hasn't been feeling so great. So we haven't got back to our scavenger hunt yet, and we are going to today. So the plan for today is to go to 2 places this morning, and then I have a lunch date with a friend who I actually ran into on New Year's, so it was fun to see her, and we're gonna catch up. And then after that, we're gonna go to the final place today. Mom's finally feeling well enough to want to go out and go book shopping. So before we do that, I wanted to give you a bit of an update on Dust, because I'm a third of the way through that now. It's YA, so the writing is simplistic enough that it's an easy read, but I feel like this particular author is writing a little more poetically in some ways. They're really trying to evoke the vibe of this idea of dust and what it's like to live in an area where everything is desolate and you're just covered in dust constantly. And I think the author's portraying that really well. It's sort of like a climate fiction because the dystopian aspect of this book is that we're a little bit further in the future where everything is changing drastically. The weather is changing drastically because of climate change. So this family left Ohio because where they were living in Ohio, everything flooded so badly that it flooded their whole house. Well, our main character's dad's reaction, I don't remember her name right now, but her dad's reaction to all this, to the climate change, to everything, is to sort of be in denial about it, to want to pull his kids out of school so they can unschool them, to live off the land, to not depend on any electricity, on anything, not depend on other people. They really only want to depend on themselves. Like her dad has gotten to the point where he's super isolationist. It's not working for the family because the girls want to go to school. They're bored, they're lonely, they're super, super isolated because then their dad buys this land in Colorado, which can be his. He can do whatever he wants with it. He has all these ideas of what he wants to do to farm and maintain his homestead. But it's the desert. It's basically the desert. This valley that they move into has been failing to keep water, to grow anything. The other big aspect of this is that our main character, gosh, what is her name? Why can't I think of it right now? Our main character is deaf in one ear, and her father, and her mother supports this, have acted like this is a huge disability that is shameful. So they completely ignore the fact that she is deaf in one ear, to the point where when she asks them to repeat something, her dad gets mad at her. And they do not make any accommodations whatsoever for the fact that she is deaf in one ear. They won't allow her to speak a different language, meaning learn sign language. And they basically want her to tell everybody that she's normal and she has no hearing impairment. And so that is a huge problem because it's a big part of who she is, and it does shape every single thing she does within her life. In this new town, she meets this young boy. Well, I guess she's 16, so he's around the same age, and he is deaf. And so she's just fascinated by him because not only is she attracted to him, but also he speaks sign language, and he is living a life that she would like to live, knowing that she is partially deaf. And it's this huge thing for her, and she is exploring this idea while also knowing that she has a situation that is a lot more hopeless than that with her father, that she doesn't think he is going to be willing to try and learn ASL or try and recognize that she is hearing impaired, and it's fine. It's not something to be ashamed about, that they should just embrace it. So you've got that part of the story, and then you have the desolation and the fear of things going wrong within this place because they have these dust storms that are rapidly increasing in number, and it's something that nobody has ever really seen in this valley before. So I'm really enjoying it. I find it fascinating. I love a good coming to age story, so that's really hitting the spot for me right now. And it's just a matter of me sitting down and actually reading it, but I am enjoying myself. Okay, so before we were going to go to Eclipse Books because Henderson's was closed the day we started doing our scavenger hunt, but we really love Henderson's books and we'd like to go there because it's a little easier to, just the way the store's organized, it's a little easier to find books. And especially with Mom having to find a poetry book, she was thinking Henderson's might be a better choice. And so that means for Mom, she needs to find a poetry book at Henderson's, and I need to find a book with a beautiful cover at Henderson's. So we will see. I think that the pricing tends to be a little comparable, and Henderson's does have more options that are lower priced than I think Eclipse does. Eclipse is usually like half the original price with his books, the way he does it. And so I currently have $22.06 to spend. So that's not a lot. I've got to spread that between Henderson's, Village, and Pelican Bay books.
How much do you have to spend?
$22.06. Ugh. So that means no new books. Mine all have to be used. Well, this is a used bookstore. This one has a lot of used books, and this one has a lot of used books too. And then Mom has $45.05 remaining, so she has no problem.
Yeah, but I didn't get much books at Christmas. I'm booming it all.
Yeah, but I didn't get much books at Christmas either. I just got small.
Jordan grabbed them all.
Yeah, it's all Jordan's fault. I mean, it's all her fault. We'll just blame her because she got all the physical books, and then I just got all the low-priced amounts. Mom, we're book shopping, not antique shopping.
I just wanted to look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to look.
Mm-mm. Look, we have more people!
Hi.
Okay, so here's the thing. When we were at Henderson's, Mom got her book. She got that poetry book, which we'll talk about later. But I had to leave in a hurry. Anyways, so I didn't get a chance to get my book at Henderson's. So we had to leave, and I had tea with my friend, and it was a great time. So now we're in Anacortes because Jordan and Shar wanted to come on an adventure. Woohoo! Woohoo! We are going to Pelican Bay Books, and I still have $22.06 left. Here, my goal is to find a book with ocean creatures on the cover.
Oh, interesting.
Mom, what's your goal?
Okay, so I still have $35. I spent $10 at Henderson, so I have $35 left. And at Pelican Bay, I have to look for a book with a cat on the cover.
Yep, that's her goal.
I want a cat book.
Yeah.
Not about cats, but a mystery, maybe a cozy mystery.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
And then what's your goals over here?
I like books. I like books. All the books.
All
They
of
want to check out Pelican Bay.
Yes.
So I am looking for a cat on the. Look at the cat. Isn't that cute? I've never heard of Mrs. Jeffries, but apparently there's a lot of books. Amy says this is number 20, but it sounds like you can read them out of. It'd be nice to read them in order, but you can't. You don't have to. And I tend to not read in order. I tend to just find a book, read it, and then find out it's book 4. 3.
Yeah, that's true.
This is book 20.
It's common for her, so it wouldn't be that
I'm
painful.
excited to read this.
It looks cute.
probably
It's got a cat on there.
Are these
Yeah, cozy Victorian or something like
Okay.
that. And then I'm going with Bury What We Cannot Take by Kristen Chen. There are these two kids, and they're in communist China, and their grandmother's like hitting the picture of Chairman Mao with her hammer, and the boy, thinking he's doing right by his country, like reports her. And so the family has to leave suddenly, or they need to get out. And the only way the country will let them do that is if they leave one child behind. So they have to make a pretty tough decision.
Right.
So it sounds really good. And that's how much I have remaining. This book is really talking a lot about climate change, obviously, because that is what the story is all about. It's about the weather changing so drastically that there is dust and huge dust storms that are occurring within this area. I mean, it's not that it's just happening there, it's been happening all over the place, but in this particular area, you can see it, the evidence is there with these dust storms and a lack of water and everything. And at one point, Thea and Ray are talking, and she asks Ray, like, if you talk to this family about climate change, do you think they would believe you? And of course, they're talking about whether or not people believe climate change, even though the evidence is so clear, especially where they are. And he says, saying something isn't real won't make it go away. It's not like a monster in the closet. And I love that line because it reminds me of one of my favorite things that I like to say about climate change, and that is climate change doesn't care whether or not you believe in it. Like, it's not going to make a difference whether or not you believe in it. And so I'm liking the conversations that are coming up in this and how the behaviors and actions they're seeing of the people within this area are bringing up these conversations and this information that she's trying to learn more about, because Thea doesn't have any formal education. Her parents have unschooled her, and so she's learning so much so quickly, and these topics are important to her because the events that are occurring within this story are drastic and they're happening right this second. And so it's nice to have YA books like this that have these conversations. I really think that it's being handled really well, and I've always found it very interesting how much people want to believe that it isn't true. And I understand that in some ways because it's frightening and it's huge and it's unimaginable. But that concept, saying something isn't real won't make it go away, that is what they're really facing within this story. It doesn't matter whether or not people, including her father, it doesn't matter if they believe that this is true or not. It is going to ruin their livelihood in the next week. Like, it's going to happen right this second. They have run out of water. They are facing these drastic dust storms. Locusts have occurred, which only happen when the stress level of grasshoppers grows to an amount that they actually transform into locusts, because locusts are grasshoppers. The grasshoppers are locusts. Certain types of grasshoppers, but physically and physiologically they transform into locusts because they're desperate and need to feed. They need to get resources, and this allows them to. And so I just find this to be a very well thought out book. You have some pretty heavy topics in here, but it doesn't drag. Like, it's not a story that you're just focusing on the desolation of this area and there isn't anything actually happening throughout the story. You've got other things to add to it, which make the story move along and make you very curious to see what's going to happen next. I just think this is really well written. I'm really enjoying it. It is Sunday, the 5th of January, and I am drinking my smoothie, so hopefully getting the day off to the right start. I've had a couple of really good stomach days lately, so I'm just kind of just trying to hold on to those. So today is technically my last day of freedom. It's gonna be fine. I'm ready. I think I'm finally ready to go back to work tomorrow, and I am excited. I'm looking forward to it. I've been messaging with the teacher that I'm subbing for tomorrow, and so it's gonna be a great day. And I did read Dust for a while last night. I'm at least halfway. Well, I'm about halfway. I'm 146 pages in, and this is like 304 pages. I'm doing pretty good with this one. Still really enjoying it. It's a quick read, but I've only been giving it like a couple of hours or an hour or so before bed. So I really haven't been giving this book that much time. And today's probably not going to be much better because I've been editing all morning. I've got my day 6 part B vlog done with the first edit. Now I'll just do my quick final edit and that'll be done. So hopefully that'll go up tomorrow morning. Then we've got to finish our scavenger hunt. We are finishing it today. So we're going to head out soon after we finish our smoothies. We're going to head out to Village Books first, and then we're gonna head to Henderson so I can finish my part of the scavenger hunt because Mom already got her book there. And then I'm going over to my cousins Jordan's and Char's for the 49er game. So fingers crossed. I know they're not doing so great this year, but fingers crossed they will win. And then I've got a phone call this afternoon. That is a special phone call. And then that's it. So hopefully after that, I'll be able to read a little bit more so that I can get as much of this done as possible before tomorrow. I still haven't figured out the volunteer thing. This is what happens. I have these intentions. I have good intentions, but then I don't make the time to actually like plan things. And I could volunteer just myself, but everybody wanted to do it with me. So I've got to figure out when everybody's available, and I just haven't made the effort. And I think part of that's because I'm just starting to feel better, so I'm trying to get things accomplished.
Okay, so we are just about to hit Village Books, and for Village Books, I currently have $13.06, so my goal is to find a book for $5. And Cece sees a dog, so she's just going to be loud. So my prompt for Village Books is a book I've never heard of before, which I think will be a great book for this particular bookstore, especially if I want to get a used book for $5.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's my goal. We'll see how it goes. How about you?
Okay, my prompt for Village Books is a book with a beautiful cover. I have $31 left. I will probably find a beautiful color.
Is that even after you got your cat cover?
Yeah, the cat cover is only $4.
Oh, that's right.
So
Wow.
I got from 35 to 31.
So you actually can get more books. Oh, you're looking for the Freya Marsk one.
I'm looking for A Restless Truth by Freya Marsk.
Book 2 in
because I
that
book
series.
3.
No, I had book 1. You bought book 3
for Jordan.
So we don't have book 2.
So I want to get that because it looks like my dog wants to go out so badly. What are you crying about, baby? What are you crying about?
So let's see what we can find.
That is so funny. Cece, come here. Come here.
All right, so I had a bit of a brilliant moment today because when we were in Village Books, I was looking at the used books section, and the lowest book is like $5 there. And a lot of the books were like classics or things that I knew about or I've already read, and I just didn't see anything that I was really excited about. And then all of a sudden I had an epiphany, and I was like, Village Books has an ARCs section, and their ARCs, they ask you to donate $2. And of course, like in the ARCs, I'm not going to know most of those books. So I went and found Stars, Hide Your Fires by Jessica Mary Best. This is a like Robin Hood retelling, but sci-fi. And it got like a average rating of 3.73, and I've definitely never heard of this before. So I'm actually really excited to give this a go. So yeah, it was perfect. I was looking at some of the other ones, but this is really the one that called to me the most. And I haven't picked up a lot of sci-fi lately, so I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it too because I read the excerpt and it sounded good. Okay, so the book I found was The Enchanted Lives of Celeste Artois, and it's by Ryan Groudon. Groudon? It's by Ryan. And the cover's just beautiful. It caught my eye. Looking at the excerpt, it's in the early 1900s Paris. And I've been really reading a lot of late 1800 and early 1900 books. I'm just wanting to keep reading in that time era. So this was perfect.
So we have finished here at Village Books. I didn't get a lot of footage there because I was mostly dealing with Cece. And then when I went inside, Mom took over Cece and I just ran over to the ARCs really fast. So there wasn't a lot of footage. There were a lot of people there, but we're going to head over to Henderson's so I can get my final book. And now I have $11 left. Which
That's
actually
reasonable.
Yeah, that gives me a lot more options.
And what do you have to look for there?
A beautiful cover, which is perfect. So I don't have to be super limited because of the amount of money I have left over.
Man, you lucked out.
I know, that was awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, so I just got done at Henderson's and I found The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is one I've wanted to read for a really long time, and I just think this cover is absolutely stunning. I think it's such a beautiful cover. And I love books that have like a critical assessment of the bourgeoisie, like Crazy Rich Asians and different Jane Austen stories. So that's definitely a trope that I love in books, and I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of that in this one. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to read more Sylvia Moreno Garcia, so I'm ready for this. So I'm excited. It was only $9, so I saved $2. When all is said and done with all the books, I would say that I definitely paid some taxes. So yeah. I think that this ended out the scavenger hunt beautifully. Woohoo! So very, very excited about what I got in total. And so maybe we'll go over all our books when we get home later on. But right now, we're going to go get some food because we're starving.
Yes.
My stomach just growled, actually.
Hello, stomach.
Okay, I want a day 7 marshmallow. Covered in chocolate, like usual. I don't know. This looks like it's like either gingerbread or something like that. My guess is gingerbread. I'm going to guess gingerbread.
Look. Ooh, that looks good.
Because it's got a bit of a spiciness to it. Mm-hmm. Apparently it's caramel. You could have fooled me. All right, so it is the 7th of January. It's a Tuesday, and I've completed my very first book of 2025. So this is my New Year book. This is the book that has brought me into the new year. It is also a new release that came out, well, it came out in the beginning of December. I'm a little late at getting it finished, but I just got it a few days ago, so I'm giving myself a bit of a break. I really did enjoy Dust a lot by Alison Stine. I probably would give this 4.25 stars. Yeah, I think 4.25 stars. I think that it was very YA in the sense that it was a younger YA story. Like, some are written a little more advanced, some are written for a slightly younger audience, and I feel like this is one of those books that could work for a slightly younger young adult audience. So like middle grade through high school would be a really good audience for this. What was really neat about this is that the author's note at the end told me that the author actually had a very similar experience to her main character. She is partially deaf, just like her main character is, and she didn't learn sign language until she became an adult. And she did deal with a lot of people saying, you're not really part of this world, you're not really part of that world. And she never really knew where she belonged when it came to the hearing community versus the deaf community. So that is something that she talks a lot about in this book. That's a huge theme of this book. And it was very real for her because that was part of her experience. She also has the same experience of moving from Ohio to Colorado and the problem with water shortage that they face in this story. And so there are aspects of this that are very familiar to her. And so I thought that was a really interesting perspective to see. This is her first YA story, so her debut YA novel. And I just thought it was really well written. I thought that it was very thoughtful. I felt like even though the topic was in a setting that could seem very bleak, the story moved along at a good pace in the sense that we kept getting more hopeful things coming in. We kept getting interesting shifts in the plot that came forward throughout this book. I just felt like it was a really well-paced story. She did a very good job of intermixing the two main themes of this to make it a well-rounded story. And I really felt like it was very heartwarming, and you get to know these characters, you enjoy the characters, you want to see what's best for all of them. And of course it's a YA, so as you can imagine, it's well-rounded in the way it decides to end things as well. So I recommend this, especially because it's a newer book, it's a new release. And if you love contemporary YA, if you love climate fiction, because this has a very heavy message when it comes to climate fiction, if you like stories that have an own voices perspective, and if you like really heartwarming family dramas, I think that you're going to really enjoy Dust by Alison Stine. And I'll be looking forward to reading more from this author because I really did enjoy this and it made me do a lot of thinking. Okay, so we never ever got a chance to do a final recap, but I want to do a final recap of our bookish scavenger hunt. So Mom's going to go first and she's going to tell you very briefly what her prompt was and where she got each of these books.
Well, let's go through my books. This was fun. I had $72 to spend and we had the scavenger list. So my first...
We had to scavenge your list?
We had a scavenger hunt list.
Oh, sorry.
Amy's making fun of me, you guys. My first book that I picked up at Griffintown in Ferndale was Scorpica by G.R. McAllister. And this book was only $8.95. And I bought it because I was supposed to put a book that is part of a series. And the first thing I noticed on here, it says The Five Queendoms, book 1. So of course this was part of a series, but the book was beautiful. I was sitting here looking at it, caught my eye in the bookshelf. So covers matter. The second book was from Barnes & Noble, and it was supposed to be a sci-fi book. So as soon as we got to Barnes & Noble, I ran over to the sci-fi section and I bought An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. And again, I think that I liked the writing. I read the excerpt. This woman is in New York City and poses in front of what she thinks is a statue. And apparently it's not. I don't know anything other than that about it. And it was $18. So it was well within my $72 I had to spend. The next place we went to was Henderson's Books. We were supposed to go to Eclipse because Henderson was closed, but since this spread out more than one day, which we thought it was only gonna be one day, we love Henderson's Books, and so we decided to change Eclipse to Henderson's. I was supposed to pick up a poetry book. So this one said Clouds, Leaves, and Waves, and again, I don't know what it was about, but I love clouds, leaves, and waves, so I was drawn by the wording. And this book looks brand new, beautiful. And it's by Gregory Botts, which I read up on him. He is an artist. And so I think these poems are trying to line up with his artistry. So it'll be fun to read. It was $10. We went to a bookstore in Anacortes, and we love Anacortes. It's a drive. I think it was about an hour drive, but we were so excited about going, and we took Jordan and Shar. The bookstore it may be used and new. I can't remember.
No, I think it's
mostly used books, and it's called Pelican Bay Books, and I was supposed to find a cat on the cover. And so I'm looking through there, and I found a really beautiful lion on a cover, and I thought, oh, this is the book. And it was the third book in the Wicked series. So I looked it up on Goodreads, and it got poor reviews, read some of the remarks, and I thought, you know what? It has a cat on the cover, a beautiful lion, and I thought that was so perfect. But it's a third book in the series, and it just felt, you know, with reading everybody's comments, I thought, yeah, let's keep looking. So I just started walking up down the rows and looking to see books that were pointed towards me, and I saw this book, and there's this little tiny orange cat on the cover of this book. And it's called Mrs. Jeffries and the Silent Night by Emily Brightwell. And somewhere it said it was in a Victorian setting, and I've been reading a lot of Victorian books lately, so this sounded right up my alley. I looked it up on Goodreads, and it was book 20 in the series, so there must be a lot of books about Mrs. Jeffries. Amy looked it up and said that it doesn't need to be read in sequence, that you can read each one individually. So I thought, you know, there's a cat on the cover. It's a little cozy mystery, and I thought, I still want to read it. And actually, I've already finished it. $4 at Pelican Bay Books, and I really enjoyed the book. It was very cute, very sweet, very weird, but I liked it. Last but not least, we went to our favorite Village Books in Ferndale, and Fairhaven, okay, Fairhaven, and I was supposed to find a book with a beautiful cover, and I knew that would be very easy. So I was also looking for another book called A Restless Truth by Freya Marsky. It's a fantasy, so I ran up to the fantasy section and knew that with all those books in the fantasy section, I'd find a beautiful cover. I did. It's called The Enchanted Lies of Celeste Artois by Ryan Graydon. The cover's just gorgeous. And so it drew me right away. It's a fantasy, and I don't know anything about it, but Amy said she's seen somebody talk about it. So I thought, okay, this is gonna be good. And it was $30. So I was just like $1 away from my $72 budget. So those are my 5 books.
I am really excited about the books I got. I'm actually really excited. I feel like sometimes when I go and have to find random things at bookstores, sometimes I end up with stuff that I am not quite as excited to read as I would like to be. But in this instance, I had prompts, and I had to choose books based on those prompts. So let me give you a bit of a recap. So the first place we stopped at was Griffintown's Cozy Corner Books in Ferndale. My prompt was a book recommended by a staff or store owner, and one of the books he showed me was Heartless. He had recently got this in. I know he hasn't read it. So the second I saw Heartless by Marissa Meyer, I was like, oh, that's it. That's the one I want, because I really loved the Lunar Chronicle series, and I've been wanting to read Heartless for a while. This got really good reviews, and this is a retelling about the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. So I'm glad this is the first one that I got, and this one was $8.95. So that's the very first book that I ended up with. The next spot we went to was Barnes & Noble's, and I was a little worried about Barnes & Noble's because it's all new books, and we're a bit limited on the price of the books. They don't have as many mass market paperbacks there as they used to, or have maybe in the past. So I was like, whew, I gotta be very careful about the price here, because I knew I was only working with a total budget of $47. I had the smallest budget of all 3 of us. It was just rude. It was just rude. So my prompt for Barnes & Noble's was a book that BookTube has convinced me to read. And when I saw this particular book, I was like, oh yes, I need to read The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, because my friend Danielle from Bookara has yelled the name of this book from the rafters for a very long time. She absolutely loves this series, and I really do need to read it. I'm very curious. I'm excited that I have it now, and I will get a chance to read it. Hopefully it won't take me too long to get there, but I'm looking forward to finding out
what all the hype is about this one for Danielle. Next on my journey was our trip to Pelican Bay bookstore in Anacortes. And I was a little concerned, I was a little nervous because my prompt was a book with ocean creatures on the cover. And I know that there are a lot of books with ocean creatures, but I was like, am I gonna have to pull out every single book and look at it? But I was kind of looking at the spines of the books and reading the titles and then looking at the design on the spines to see if I could find water, because I thought that was the easiest way to hopefully find some sea creatures. And I found a couple of books that did have sea creatures on them. I wasn't that interested. One had goldfish on the cover and it was about the sea, and I'm like, goldfish are not in the sea, they're freshwater fish. It was just a really weird cover, but I thought it was funny, so I had to take a video of that. I did end up pulling out, fortunately, this book, Bury What We Cannot Take by Kirsten Chen, and this has little sea creatures on the cover. I think that this sounds like it will be a difficult book, but probably a very impactful book. And I think it got really good reviews. So I'm excited about this, and this was $9. So after this book, after these 3 books, my $47 budget was down to $13. $13.06, which I was nervous about because I still had Village Books and Henderson's books. And Village Books is mostly new books, but they do have used books. So when I went to Village Books, I was looking in the used books, and there was like 1 or 2 $5 books. The rest were like 8 or 10 or more. And I was not really excited about the used books that were in the $5 range, but I really wanted to try and save money for Henderson's. I knew that I was going to be in trouble. I just knew that I had to do something. I had to be a little cautious. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can run over to the ARC section because they ask for $2 donations for their ARCs, but they have a big ARC section, and that's advanced reader's copy. And I ran over there, and my prompt was a book you've never heard of before. So of course, going to this ARC section where I don't know any of these books, I'm gonna find the right book because I have never heard of most of them. So I was looking through, I found a few that looked interesting, but then I pulled out Stars, Hide Your Fires by Jessica Mary Best. And this is a music lyric. It's a music lyric, right? Stars, Hide Your Fires. Isn't it a music lyric? I know it's there. This is a saying from a music this is sci-fi. And when I was listening to it, it is a Robin Hood retelling, which is fantastic because I really like Robin Hood retellings. I like Robin Hood too. I like the story. So I thought this sounded perfect. I don't know if it's YA or adult. It kind of sounds like it might be YA. And I have never heard of this book before or heard anybody talk about it. And I think it got fairly decent reviews. So I was like, yes, this is it. So that's my $2 book from Village Books. $2 from 13 left me with $11, which is a great place to go into my final bookstore, which was Henderson's Books. And I knew this was going to be a hard one because my prompt was a book with a beautiful cover. There's so many books. There are so many books, and there are so many books with beautiful covers. So I was looking in the fiction section for a while, pulling out different books, looking at them. I found some that were interesting, but their price was too high, like they were $13 or more. And then I found some that I was like, I don't know if I'm that interested. So I wandered over to the fantasy and sci-fi section. I was gazing through there, didn't see anything I was really particularly pulled into. And then as I was walking past the thriller section, which this isn't the thriller book, I guess maybe there's a mystery to it, I don't remember. But I saw this, it was put up on a little stand, and I've thought this book was gorgeous since the first time I laid eyes on it. I have also believed for a while that this is gonna be a book that I will absolutely love. So I guess technically it's a 5-star prediction because ever since I knew about this book and knew what the content was, I figured this would be a book that would be for me, based on other types of books that I've liked that are set in this bourgeois environment. And it's like putting on airs and trying to figure out society. And I tend to like books like this. Our main character is out in society. She and her cousin are being presented and things are not going very well for her at all. And that is a setting that I find fascinating. And I really like when there are a lot of critical conversations about this part of society. And I think it's, well, you know, Crazy Rich Asians is one of my favorite series because I love all the drama, but I also love the social commentary about it. So I think this is going to be perfect for that. And she has powers. She's like a witch, or she has telekinesis or something like that. So there's an added element to this that I think will be very fascinating. And tell me that's not a beautiful cover. Like, well, don't tell me that because you'd be wrong. It's so beautiful. And so this worked perfectly, and it was only $9, which means that I had $2 to spare. So I actually did really well with my $47. And I got my 5 books that I'm really, really excited to read. All right, so I finally finished day 12 of the Advent Calendar Challenge, which really was just to go to a holiday concert, which I did on New Year's. I went to the Queen cover band concert, and it was such a blast. But I still needed to finish a few things, and that was the Bookish Scavenger Hunt, which you saw in this video we completed. And I am accepting that for the volunteer/donate prompt, we did donate. We donated 3 different gifts, and so although we didn't get a chance to actually volunteer, I'm hoping that in this new year, I'll get more opportunities to do some volunteering. Included in this vlog, I did read 3 different books. One is One Day in December by Josie Silver, and that was my Christmassy book that I wanted to finish out the whole Advent Calendar Challenge with. The other was Only Santa's in the Building, the final book in the Under the Mistletoe collection novella series that I was reading throughout the holidays, and that is by Alexis Daria. And then to celebrate the new year and to complete a prompt for her kid for my monthly releases, I read Dust by Alison Stine. So let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of any of the books that I read, or even the books that we picked up for the Bookish Scavenger Hunt. I do love seeing everybody's comments in the comment section down below. Even if I'm not always the best at responding to them, I do see them all. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens in the month of March/April. I'm gonna have different types of vlogs coming out, so if you liked these vlogs, you'll probably, hopefully, enjoy the other ones that I put out as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.